This right here is the clearest offside you'll ever see.
Michael, it was so far offside, it's unbelievable.
But it wasn't called, so the goal counted. And the Avs went ahead to win the game by 1. So that call officially ruined the game. And still, that's just one of the 10 worst calls in NHL history. Because the next call almost got the ref his ass whooped. See, in 2013, the Western Conference semifinals between Chicago and Detroit went into Game 7. And when there was just under 2 minutes left, Chicago scored the game winner. At first, everything looked fine, until the refs waved it off for a reason no one in the whole arena could explain.
Right here in front of the Red Wing bench, and then watch this official. As the play is developing in this area, watch what happens behind the play. Referee Stephen Walkham is going into that pile, and he is waving with his hands, making a safe call. It is coincidental minor penalties with 1:47 left in the third.
The ref really called off the goal and gave both teams penalties for something that had nothing to do with the ongoing play. And, I mean, knowing Chicago fans, if they hadn't won the game in OT, the ref would have been dead. And speaking of getting hurt, that almost happened to Carey Price too, when the refs missed the most obvious goalie interference call ever.
Get through. Here comes Hayes. Went in. The rebound is hammered home, and the Rangers take the lead.
They literally dragged Price out of the net, leaving him with no chance to even try saving the puck. And the worst part is, the ref was standing right there. Even Price couldn't believe what just happened. Yeah, the ref definitely had the Rangers on his parlay that night. But alright. At least that call only ruined a regular season game, because the call in number 7 literally ended a team's season. In the first round of the 2016 Stanley Cup playoffs, Islanders entered Game 6 up 3-2 and were 1 win away from sending the Panthers home. But despite that, Panthers hold a 1-goal lead almost the whole game. And when Florida got the puck with a minute on the clock and the Islanders' net empty, it looked like the game was in the bag. But then right here, the Islanders player clearly trips up Trocheck before he can get a shot off. But the ref doesn't call the trip. And then it happens again, this time right in front of the empty net. And the ref still stands there stone cold like nothing happened. And of course, the Islanders go ahead and score during the same play just a few seconds later to send the game to overtime. Eventually, Islanders won the game in overtime, and those missed calls by the refs cost Panthers their season. And that ain't even the only time a horrendous call ended a season, because the same thing happened to the Canucks too. You know, back in 2013 when the Shanghai Sharks were actually good, they were leading a series 3-0 against the Canucks. And with the series on the line, Daniel Sedin gets called this soft-ass penalty in overtime.
And a penalty coming up to Vancouver. Daniel Sedin is going to the box.
Well, Daniel Sedin's got a point here. Yep. This is just two guys battling.
In no situation should that be a call in overtime of a playoff game.
The calls were 24-10. Come on, shoulder to shoulder. The puck is right there. It's Tommy Wingles, and look at how he throws himself into the board. Come on.
You know the refs fucked up when Sedin's out here throwing stuff. And he was angry for a reason, because that was all that the Sharks needed. Because with just 10 seconds into the power play,
Shoots, saved by Schneider. They score on the rebound, and the San Jose Sharks have swept the Vancouver Canucks. Alain Vigneault looking back at the referees. He didn't like that call against Sedin. You can't blame him.
Although that call was bad, the calls just keep getting worse as it's time to take a look at the 5 worst calls in NHL history. And at number 5, the refs missed a call so badly, fans were sure the game was rigged. See, back in 1993, the conference finals between Maple Leafs and Kings went into Game 7. Leafs had one of the best teams in franchise history, and as usual, Leafs fans swore that this was finally their year. But in the dying moments of Game 7 happened something the Leaf fans haven't got over to this day. Just keep your eyes on what Gretzky does here.
Good shot, that's blocked, and it hurt Gilmore. He stopped the shot, it hurt him, he fell, and the play was called.
Wayne Gretzky's stick fob, I believe, and Carey Kaiser's going to the linesman to ask him here. And wouldn't this be something if Wayne Gretzky was thrown out for a high stick?
Gretzky hits Doug Gilmour with a clear high stick, so hard that Gilmour's chin starts bleeding. The ref stopped the play, but still, for some reason, didn't call a penalty on Gretzky. And just to make the situation even worse, minute after that, when Gretzky was supposed to be in the box for the high stick, he scored the game winner. After the game, of course, suspicions rise when the NHL's biggest marketing factor found his way into yet another finals.
A lot of people who are Leaf supporters think this is a conspiracy to get the LA Kings into the final.
Hey!
Oh, you agree with that? Well, that's ridiculous to agree with that.
I didn't agree with nothing. I just said, hey, you said it, not me.
No, well, so you disagree or you agree with the fans that feel that way?
You're telling the story, kid.
No, I said a lot of people feel that way who are supporting the Leafs, understandably. No, of course not.
Figure it out. Here's a guy who gets 8 stitches. 8 stitches in his chin. What happened? Who did it? Nobody knows, okay? Nobody knows, okay? So here's what happens. The referee calls the guy over. He says, did you see what happened? Ooh, not my side. Going into overtime. Gretzky, verge of elimination. So what do we do? What do they say? What do we do? How about he gets hit with the puck? Gets hit with the puck. He's laying on before he hits the thing. The only way he hit with the puck is if his chin was on the ice. Anyhow, that's all I got to say about that. Gets the overtime winner, and that's wrong as far as I'm concerned.
Either way, at least that call didn't lose them the Stanley Cup, unlike the call in number 4. Yeah, 2017 was supposed to be Nashville's year to finally win the first Stanley Cup in franchise history. So going into Game 6 of the finals, in their home ice down 3-2, they needed the win to keep the dream alive. And after a hard battle, in the second period, they finally scored the first goal of the game. I mean, at least they thought they did.
Puck stays in. Forsberg with a shot. Murray's got it. No, he doesn't, but the whistle is gone. The puck came loose, was poked in the net, but even in this building, you could hear the whistle went when the puck was outside of the crease.
He's on the left side of your screen there, so he thinks it's underneath, but clearly, guys, it's right there for the taking and tapped in, and what a terrible break for Nashville.
The ref lost sight of the puck and whistled the play dead while the puck was still clearly in the play. And due to that missed call, the goal didn't count. Nashville players were mad, and so were the fans.
Well, except for Pollock, who blew it.
Listen, Craig, these nice fans are wishing the referees good luck.
And that overturned goal turned out to be historic, because for the rest of the game, nobody could find the back of the net. Until with just under 2 minutes left, Penguins got this lucky bounce.
Blue line. Schultz with a shot just wide. Bouncing puck. They score! Hornqvist banked it in off Rene. Patrick Hornqvist has the game's first goal.
That goal sealed the Stanley Cup to the Pens and made the ref the most hated guy in all of Nashville. But somehow, he still ain't as hated as the referee in number 3. This is Stéphane Augier, and he's by far the most hated referee in the whole history of the NHL. Augier was known for making horrendous calls solely on emotion and seeking revenge on players he didn't like. This guy was hated so much, the fans literally cheered every time he got hit during games.
And, the fans should not be cheering.
But in 2010, Augier did something the NHL world would never forget. See, earlier in the season, Augier had some controversy with Canucks forward Alex Burrows, and was angry that Burrows had put him in a bad light. So next time Augier was officiating the Canucks, before the game, cameras caught him telling Burrows he would be getting him back for putting shade on his name. And after Burrows scored 2 goals in the first 2 periods, Augier finally snapped and delivered on his promise. Because in the third period, Burrows was called not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 absolutely ridiculous penalties. Most notably, these 2 in the dying moments of the game.
Then, Stéphane Augier goes to work. Burrows battling with future teammate Dan Hamhuis called for the phantom dive. Later, look at the Nashville players here. Alex Burrows gets a late interference call that even surprises the Preds.
Yeah, just look at the coach's face after that interference call. And to make matters worse, during that interference call, Nashville scored the game winner. And after the game, Burrows, of course, was mad that Augier ruined the game.
Well, it was personal. It started in warm-up and before the anthem. That ref came over me and he said I made him look bad in Nashville on the Smiths in it. He said he was going to get me back tonight, and after he did his job in the third, I think got me on a diving call. I didn't think it was diving. Got me on an interference call that I had no idea how he could call that and change the game. It sucks right now for our teammates that are battling hard for 60 minutes to win a hockey game. And
damn, the ref almost had my boy crying. And just to make him feel a little better, the league hit him with a $2,500 fine for criticizing the referees. But at least those calls just cost him money. The next call literally cost the Flames the Stanley Cup. Yeah, in 2004, Flames made their way into the finals as a 6th seed in the West. And going into Game 6 of the finals in Tampa, they were leading the series 3-2 and were 1 win away from taking the cup home for the 2nd time in franchise history. The game went to the wire, and with just 7 minutes on the clock and Calgary being just 1 goal away from winning the Stanley Cup, this happened. At first, that looked like a normal play, but taking a little closer look at the clip, it was obvious that the puck was in.
You have to definitely see the puck over the line.
And even though it was so clear, even Stevie could have seen that the puck was in. The ref took a look at the replay and still said it was no good.
There is no conclusive evidence the puck completely crossed the goal line.
Taking away Calgary's Stanley Cup winning goal. And the next thing you know, Tampa scores the game winner in double OT, taking the series to Game 7. Where they eventually also won the cup. Yeah, the ref really robbed the cup from Calgary. But the worst call I've ever seen has to be number 1, because the ref somehow managed to fuck up the last call of the whole season. See, Game 6 of the 1999 Stanley Cup Finals went into the 3rd overtime, making it the longest game in Finals history. The Stars were leading the Sabres in the series 3-2 and were just 1 goal away from winning their first ever Stanley Cup. That's when Brett Hull pulled off the most controversial play in NHL history. In the replay, you can clearly see Hull's skate was in the crease when he scored the goal. And in today's NHL, that'd be a good goal any day. Not stand in the crease. So that means Hull's goal should never have counted, and the Stars should not have won the Stanley Cup that night. Man, lucky I ain't a Sabres fan, because I would have been fuming. Either way, scoring the Stanley Cup winning goal in triple OT is crazy. But it still ain't even make the list of the 20 greatest game winners of all time. And I know you want to see them, so just click here and watch the video. It's crazy.